How's it going, everybody? This is Chris from CLS Paranormal, and we are here at the beautiful shores of Lake Erie at Dunkirk, New York, and we are here to investigate the Dunkirk Lighthouse. This place is absolutely amazing. We've gotten to see some incredible things, which you'll get to see later in the video, some bonuses. We got to check out an APV tank, and there's all types of cool memorabilia on this property. All right, guys, so we got something special on this video. So David decided to open the tank for us and let us see the inside of it. So we are gonna go inside. I've seen one, but I've never been inside of a tank. Ooh. All right.
Chills, doesn't it?
Oh, this is amazing. So right now I'm inside the APV tank, and I'm 6 foot tall, and it's crazy. It's actually bigger in here than you think it would be. But I'll show you how the driver got to sit. Now, if you're claustrophobic, this is definitely not the thing for you. But that's where the driver sat. And there's not a lot of room in here. Like, you're definitely not just gonna, you're a big dude, you're not just gonna crawl in here. And there's the engine, made in USA.
Crazy. Good shot.
So we are now inside of the Dunkirk Lighthouse. We are here with Lighthouse Dave. That is the nickname that we gave him. So we are going to now get a tour and a walkthrough of this beautiful lighthouse, and he's going to show us some things and show us hot spots. So whenever you're ready.
Okay, well, welcome to the lighthouse. We are actually in the dining room of the house. The house was built in 1875. There has been a lighthouse on the property since 1826. But the original house and tower had to be moved in 1875 because of all the erosion we get here on Lake Erie. So in 1875 they built this house for the lighthouse keeper and his family to live in, and it is was lived in until 1960. It was empty in 1960 because the light we have has been automated, and now it is a museum since 1984. So this is our 40th anniversary of having a museum at the house. And the people who started the museum took the house, turned the house into a lighthouse museum where people can see how it was that people lived between 1875 and 1960. But then they took the other half of the house, which is up on the second floor, bedrooms, and turned it into a military museum. So we have something here for everybody.
That's definitely true.
So in the dining room, of course, we do have our dining room table all set up for people to sit at. We have a beautiful potbelly stove over here. It is cast iron and nickel plated. Unfortunately, it's missing the glass that would radiate the heat out to keep the smoke in. So not usable anymore. But I do have a piece of wood sitting over there on the floor in case I ever get cold and I want to stick it in there, I can warm it up. It's really a beautiful piece of art from a place called the Yap Islands.
Oh,
so I really wouldn't put it in the thing, but I like to tell people that's what I'm going to do. We do have a chandelier that was kerosene converted to electric, hanging right there from the ceiling. We have a couple of very old dolls over here. This doll is 50 years old. This doll is 100 years old. And it is a very big hot spot right here. We do have a couple of little ghost children that are in the house, and they drowned in the late 1800s out in the water. They were out playing with their friends and they got caught in a riptide. The lighthouse keeper, of course, his job is to rescue people. So he and a friend of his named Charlie went out to rescue them. Charlie and two of the children drowned, and since that time they've been here in the house hanging out. And of course they like hanging out by the doll. So Charlie usually sits in this rocking chair Sometimes it'll rock. You'll see it rocking back and forth. But the children like to play with the objects that are sitting here. And we have had a couple of movies filmed here. One of them was a movie called Widow's Point. And it was a movie that was filmed in 2018 about a haunted lighthouse, sorry. Mixed up. It was about a haunted lighthouse. And the main character in the movie is a writer who wants to write a book about a haunted lighthouse. So, of course, he decides he should lock himself in the tower for the weekend. And, of course, nothing bad is going to happen to somebody who locks themselves into a tower in a haunted place. So, of course, things happen. It's not a real gory movie. It's really kind of a nice movie. I mean, the worst part of it is the music. And it has kind of a goofy ending, but it's really an interesting story. But there was a little girl in the movie called Kaylin, and she played, of course, a little girl in the movie, but also a ghost, because, of course, it goes back in time on how the things were in the ghosts, and how they got to be ghosts in the first place. And so she was in the house the first day they were filming in the tower, and the house was being used to do makeup and costumes and stuff like that. And she comes out at the end of the day, and she says to me, Dave, she says, can you get the ghost to leave me alone? I said, well, what do you mean? She goes, well, they're pulling on my hair and my dress and my sleeve and my arm, and I really don't like that they're touching me. So can you get them to stop? So I said, well, yeah, I'll go and talk to them and see what I can do. So the next morning she comes in and she says, did you talk to them? I said, I did, but I need to bring you in the house. I need to introduce you to them. And I really think they want to play with you, and they just don't know how to get your attention. So we came in here to the dining room where we're standing right now, and I said to the ghost, this is Kaylin. She's here to make this movie. She would not like it. She would like it much better if you would not touch her. So, I'm asking you right now, please don't touch her, but she will play with you if that's what you want. So I took this little blue ball right here, and I said, come on, St. Kaylin, sit down on the floor. So I rolled the blue ball down the dining room. I said, can you roll the ball back to Kaylin? Well, the ball went down and around, and it came back to Kaylin. I said, Kaylin, roll the ball for them, because I'll see if they'll roll it back to you. So she rolled the ball, and the ball came back to her. And then I said, well, Kaylin, you can ask them yes and no questions using the ball. If the answer is yes, have them roll it back. If the answer is no, leave the ball where it is. So I said, I rolled the ball and said, do you like the color blue? If you like the color blue, send the ball back. If you don't like the color blue, leave the ball where it is. And of course the ball is blue, so they sent the ball back. I said, all right, Kaylin, think of a question, and ask it. Of course, in the meantime, it was now time for her to get her makeup on and get her costumes on. So I left. And at lunchtime, she comes out. I said, well, how's it going? Are they touching you? Are they doing anything? She goes, no, they're not touching me anymore, but I need a second ball because there's a boy and a girl, and I want the blue ball for the boy, and I need a new ball for the girl. So I gave her this ball right here so she could roll that. And then she says, come on in the house and see what I did. So I come in, and on the floor she has these 4 coffee filters. And the coffee filters say, yes, no, maybe, and I don't know. And she laid them on the floor, and she would roll the ball and ask a question, and whatever the answer was, the ball would come and lay by one of the papers. So, she was doing that and, having a great time with it. And so she rolls the ball and she goes, hey, do you like to tease Dave? And the ball goes and it rolls around and it comes back and it lands on the word no. And about 5 seconds later, it rolls over to the word yes. So obviously they're telling her that they like to tease me. But, laws of physics say once the ball stops, it shouldn't be able to roll by itself unless somebody is pushing it. And how it moved from one place to the other is the thing that, you have to understand. So, of course, then the other actors really liked the fact that she was asking questions. So they go, hey, Kaylin, ask this question. Hey, Kaylin, ask this question. So the whole time that they were here every day, they would get really into it. And then after the second or third day, the makeup artist comes down and she goes, hey, Dave, can you get him to leave my makeup alone? I said, well, what do you mean? She goes, my makeup's not where it's supposed to be, and I can't find what I'm looking for, so can you get them to leave it alone? I said, well, I'll talk to them, but probably not, because touching somebody and taking your makeup are 2 very different things. And so about a month after they left, I was finding like bobby pins and plates and fake fingernails and pieces of cotton all over the house that they had cleaned up, and I know wasn't there because I've been here every day giving tours.
So they're tricksters.
Yes, they are. But they're little kids, and
Yeah.
what do little kids do?
Yeah,
they're
they're
really interested in things, so they do stuff like
Well,
that.
hopefully they'll hang out with us tonight and maybe roll a ball for us or two.
Well,
Hopefully.
all we can do is hope and pray. So, all right. So anyway, this is the dining room, and I don't know if you want to head into a different.
Yeah,
room
whenever
and
you're
look
ready,
around.
we'll.
Okay. So we'll go across the hall into the living room, and behind the living room is the lighthouse keeper's bedroom. Because access to the lighthouse is on this floor down the hallway. So the lighthouse keeper, of course, does not want to sleep upstairs on the second floor where the bedrooms are. Because if he sleeps upstairs, that means he has to get up, come down a set of stairs, go down the hall, go up the stairs to the tower, back down the tower stairs, down the hall, and back up the stairs to go to bed. So again, work smarter, not harder. Why go up 2 sets of stairs if you don't have to? And of course, as we go up to the top of the tower, you'll understand that that's an awful lot of steps to be
And we have
going
not
up
gone
that.
up the tower yet. So
You
that's
have
gonna be
not gone
super
up
fun.
to the tower yet. No, that we will head up there shortly, but you'll get to see it. But just so you know, this is my favorite piece in the whole house, is the newel post at the bottom of the stairs. It's a beautiful piece of art because, of course, the house was built in the 1870s. That was that Victorian age when everything had to be really beautiful. So, of course, it looks like a lighthouse. And as the people came in the front door, the first thing they saw was the staircase. So the staircase had to be a showpiece. But isn't it it's just a beautiful piece
That's
of
really
art.
neat.
It is.
Beautiful. It's
Beautiful.
one of my favorite things. Now, we do have a little model of our lighthouse over there. There was a family that lived in this house for 41 years, and that was the Arnold family. And Mr. Arnold was the assistant lighthouse keeper on the property from 1909 to 1928. In 1928, he became the lighthouse keeper and moved into this house. And all 6 of his children were born on this property. They all grew up here, and when they had children, this is where they'd come to have their holidays and vacations. So that grandchildren that are still around will come back and visit us and bring things back to us that belonged in the house.
Wow. Okay.
So the little lighthouse model right there was a gift to one of Mr. Arnold's grandchildren by a friend of his. And he was downsizing, of course, getting older, and needed a place for things to go. So he brought the lighthouse here to us. We have several different things in the house that did belong to that family. And they come back periodically and tell us stories about life on the lighthouse grounds, like with their parents and stuff like that. So it's kind of an interesting thing to make you really realize that the lighthouse that the keeper lived in is somebody's home, where all of their memories are, and that it's not just a place where you came to work.
Yeah.
It's a place where you lived, and lighthouse keepers were not a 9-to-5 job. It wasn't just a job to them, it was a way of life. You spent 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year living here and working here and doing things. So when they come back and tell you the stories about being here, it makes it real, that you understand this was somebody's home, even though it's owned by the federal government. This was somebody's home.
Well,
And of course,
yeah.
once you were not the lighthouse keeper anymore, you had to leave. But they were here 41 years,
Wow.
living
Wow.
here on this property. So this is their whole life. And the grandchildren still have fond memories of the here. So
Yeah.
they like to share those memories with us. And it's really an interesting thing when
That's
they do
amazing.
That's neat. Yeah.
Okay. And one of the memories they have is about this post right here. Of course, lighthouse keepers have to work all night. And if the lighthouse keeper was tired in the morning, wanted to sleep for a while, he used to be able to take the knob off the top of this post. He'd put it on the floor at the top of the stairs as a warning to his children that he was sleeping and was not to be disturbed. So when the children would get up in the morning, if they saw the knob on the floor, that was their cue, of course, to come down quietly, eat their breakfast, do their chores, and stay away from the house or pay the consequences.
Yeah.
And of course, there was no child abuse hotline and child protective services back then. So they had things they had to do. So when the grandchildren would come back, it's like, what happened to your parents if they misbehaved? Well, first they polished brass and washed windows, because of course the top of the tower had a ton of brass and windows up there. All right, but this was a self-sustaining farm with horses and cows and chickens and pigs, and they had a huge vegetable garden. So the worst of the kids got the crappiest of the jobs, if you kind of get my meaning.
Yeah.
Okay, so all you had to do was be better than the worst kid, and you didn't have to do it.
Yeah, you were good. You were golden.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, that's my favorite piece of the whole house.
That's cool. Yeah.
It is.
All right.
It's beautiful.
So we can head into the living room, and in the living room we have, of course, a lot of antique furniture. Things that would have been here in the 1870s through 1960. So we have a piano, we have a Victrola. They didn't have a big screen TV over the top of the fireplace, so they had to find other forms of entertainment. And of course, that's what you had. We do have photographs of some of the lighthouse keepers that lived here on the property. Mr. Arnold, of course, was one of them, who was here the 41 years, and we have several pictures of him. This is the lighthouse keeper's bedroom, and in the bedroom we do have Mr. Arnold's picture of when he was the assistant lighthouse keeper. And then right over here we have pictures of Mr. Arnold when he was the lighthouse keeper and when he retired, and of course some pictures of what the property looked like when they lived here. So the painting that's over the fireplace was painted for the Arnolds in the 1930s by a man who lived across the street. Okay, it hung over the fireplace while they lived here. They took it with them when they left. Their daughter had it. When she passed away, her son sent it back to us and said, please put it back over the fireplace where it belongs. So again, another piece of the lighthouse history right here. The clock on the mantle right here was owned by this lighthouse keeper. This is Peter Dempsey. He was here from 1885 to 1902. He lived here with his wife and his 5 children. And a couple of his children are in this picture right here, but it also shows the garden. But he bought this clock in 1887 as a gift for his wife on the birth of their son.
Wow.
His granddaughter gave us the clock back to put over the fireplace where it belongs, but she also gave us those 2 chairs. These 2 chairs belonged to his parents, and they lived here in the house with them for a short time. And of course, look how low they are to the floor, because of course people were a lot shorter back in the 1800s than they are today.
Yeah.
So the chairs, of course, reflect all of that, and even when you look at the other chairs in the house. Okay?
Yeah.
So we do have those. And of course, you're looking at this wedding dress right over here. This wedding dress is made out of 2 World War II silk parachutes.
What? That's
2
awesome.
World War II silk parachutes.
Wow.
And it was worn by 4 local sisters between 1945 and 1953. Of course, back during World War II, material for wedding dresses was scarce. So this man, Robert Farnham, was coming home on a 30-day leave to marry his girlfriend. Her name was Adeline Copliner. He brought home 2 used silk parachutes, gave them to her. She had 2 weeks to have them made into a wedding dress. So she took them to a local seamstress who put the 2 parachutes together. The decorations on the dress are apple blossoms that were waxed and sewn on in 1945.
Wow.
So in February of 1947, her sister Geraldine wore the dress when she married Frederick Fuller. And this is just a picture of their daughter holding the book with their picture in it next to the wedding dress. Because some families do come back and look at things.
That's cool.
All right. In September of 1947, her sister Bee wore it when she married Art Lamb. And here, of course, you can see how full the bottom of the dress is, because really parachutes are huge.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of material. And in 1953, their youngest sister Mary wore it when she married James Harrington. And in 2005, that's what the 4 sisters looked like when they donated the wedding dress to the lighthouse.
That's awesome.
Not too often that you see
No.
parachute wedding dresses.
No.
And it's a beautiful dress that really could be worn today by somebody,
And a lot of vintage stuff is coming back in style
Yeah.
today anyway.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that definitely
It
is something people will wear.
So on the fireplace, we have pictures of some of our other lighthouse keepers. This is Henry Severance. He was here during the Civil War, so he never lived in this house because this house was built after the Civil War. But I have a very interesting ghost story about this picture. Okay. One day I was giving this tour to this family. It was a mother and her daughter, and a couple of other people were here. And we came across the hall from the dining room like this, and the little girl was coming here, and she stopped and she was looking down the hall like this. Okay, and then she came in and she started looking, and she's looking at that picture. And then she goes like this. And then she goes like this. Then she goes like this. And she yells, "Hey, Mommy! That man's standing down the hall."
Oh,
my goodness.
Awesome. That's awesome.
So again, lighthouse keeping is not a job. It's a way of life. And
Yeah.
they just don't ever go away. You
So
know,
that's
they
probably why they're
stay
here.
all the time. But it's kind of an interesting thing. And there's actually another story about Peter Dempsey too. There was a group here that came one time and they saw an orb in front of the sewing machine over there, so they blew the orb up and Peter Dempsey's face is in the orb.
Oh, wow.
So
That's really
again,
cool.
you know,
Yeah.
more interesting. Lighthouse keepers just stay forever.
There's
They
a lot
don't
of good
like to go
stories
away.
here.
Yeah. So this is John McDonough. He was the assistant to Peter Dempsey, and when Peter Dempsey retired, he became the lighthouse keeper. He was the lighthouse keeper when Mr. Arnold was the assistant lighthouse keeper, and then when he retired, Mr. Arnold took over for him. This is Mr. Arnold on the pier light in the middle of winter, because we not only have one lighthouse for navigating up and down the lake, but we have a second lighthouse that gets you in and out
You
of the
can't
of the
even
harbor.
tell it's a lighthouse.
No,
It's covered
because
with
Lake
snow.
Erie is the one great lake that normally freezes over solid in the winter time. So there's no navigation on Lake Erie from the end of December until the beginning of April.
Wow.
But this is why, because everything gets covered with ice. So when you're standing up on the top of the tower in the middle of winter, it looks like Siberia out there, because all you see is just ice
That would be
everywhere.
amazing
Yeah.
to see.
Well, you'll just have to come back in the wintertime if it's cold enough. Because lately, with the climate change and stuff, it's not icing over like it used to, which is really actually
Yeah.
pretty bad for us because we get a lot more erosion in the wintertime. When the ice is like that, it protects the shoreline. Now that it's not coming in, the waves are splashing up and just eating the shoreline away all the time.
Wow.
Right. So this is Mr. Gannon. He was here from 1950 to 55. And when we get into the kitchen, there's a red table that belonged to him.
Oh, cool.
And I will tell you that story when we look at the red table.
All right.
Okay. And then the last family to live in the house was the Landis family. They were here from 55 to 60. And in 1960, they automated our light because we are still a working lighthouse. They didn't need anybody living in the house anymore, so of course the house was empty, and it was turned into the museum in 1984. And then this gentleman was hired by the city to mow the lawn and maintain the house, but he wasn't able to live in the house.
Okay.
Okay, but I also have a very good story about this picture right here. This is William and Sarah Sinfield. They were assistant lighthouse keepers here from 1874 to 1885. Sarah is one of the few women in the United States that was granted a pension by the federal government as a female Civil War soldier.
Whoa.
So we're really honored the fact that she lived here on the property, because women normally were not considered soldiers during the Civil War.
Yeah.
You know, they worked in hospitals, they worked in
Right.
offices, they did cooking, cleaning, all that kind of stuff. Most women, if they wanted to wanted to be a soldier, they dressed up as men and tended to act like men and signed up as a man to fight. And then if they found out they were women, they kicked them out. Well, she went in as a woman, signed
Wow.
up with her husband. You know, and this became a whole separate history thing that we didn't know about at first, but the county historian was doing research on the lighthouse keepers and came across a little blurb in a newspaper from the 1880s that was honoring the two of them for their service during the Civil War. So of course that became a whole separate thing, and she found information that verified the fact that she was a soldier. And she went in, she signed up, went to the commander, said, "I want to go with my husband." He goes, "If you can do everything everybody else can, you can go." So
Yeah.
she signed up, picked up her gun, and headed out.
Wow.
All right.
That's cool.
She became a field nurse. So when there was a battle raging, she'd pick up her gun and start fighting. If she saw somebody get injured, she'd put the gun down, pick up her bucket of water and her bandages, run out on the field, clean them all up, get them off the battlefield, and then put down her bucket and pick up her gun and continue fighting.
Wow.
Okay. Her commander wrote in his notes that if he had more soldiers like Sarah, they would have won the war faster. So of course we try to honor women in the military because they don't always get the recognition they deserve. So this is one of those people. Okay. Now they were at the Battle of Gettysburg.
Wow.
During the Battle of Gettysburg, William got shot in the knee. He was on crutches like these for the rest of his life with a knee that never healed. the government decided that instead of giving him a disability pension as a wounded American veteran, he should have a job as a lighthouse keeper. Okay, lighthouse keepers have to
Go up and down.
Walking
up and down
upstairs.
stairs
Yeah.
on crutches.
So how'd that work?
Well, he did it if he could. But of course, he can't say, you know, my knee's killing me, I'm staying in bed today.
Right.
All right? Because, of course, if you don't like the light, people die. So
Yeah.
if he can't do it, somebody else, of course, would have to be the lighthouse keeper. And that, of course, would have to have been Sarah. She
Yes.
would have, you know, on record, it says that he is the assistant lighthouse keeper. But you know darn well, since he couldn't always climb up the
Yeah.
stairs, she would have to do it. And of course, lighthouse keepers train everybody in their family to be lighthouse keepers. And there are tons of women lighthouse keepers. Ours on record all say men. But that's not always the case. It was not gender specific. There were lots of women who were lighthouse keepers. And sometimes, of course, they became lighthouse keepers because their husband passed away and they were doing the job and just stayed there because, of course, they didn't have anything else to do. But all the children, of course, were brought up to learn how to be a lighthouse keeper from day one. As a baby, you took them up to the top of the tower and showed them how to fill the oil and trim the wicks and light the light and regulate the airflow and make the lens go around and do all of those things. So that no matter if the lighthouse keeper, his spouse, if they were both sick or, broken feet and arms and legs, and they couldn't make it up to the tower, somebody always had to do it. And of course, the children would learn how to do that. And there was a boss he was the lighthouse inspector. He would come and watch the children grow up all the time. And if there was an opening in a different lighthouse, of course, he would hire one of the children to take over a lighthouse in a different place.
Wow.
And of course, maybe the lighthouse keeper only had girls.
So he hired the girls.
So he
Wow.
hired the girls, yeah. I mean, there's lots of information out there that tell you stories about children having to take over lighthouses, wives having to do it,
Yeah.
Anybody that was in the family. Second floor is our military museum, but this is where the children slept upstairs on the second floor. So we're going to go up there and look around at the military.
Awesome.
Okay?
That's definitely my favorite part because all the military stuff.
So the black panel at the top of the stairs is part of the moving Vietnam Memorial that travels the country. It was on our property in 1988 and again in 1992. Excuse me. And during the 1992 travels, this panel got damaged. So they left it here as part of our display and replaced it with a brand new one. One of our board members was in Desert Storm, and a buddy of his did these drawings over there for him. So this is his personal collection
Wow.
right here. And each room up here is dedicated to a different branch of the armed forces. So we have Marines and Navy on one side, we have Army and Air Force on the other side. So we can just head right into the rooms in here. And you can see all kinds of different interesting uniforms from all different eras in here. Different types of guns and helmets we have in the closet over here. We have some German helmets, some French helmets, some American helmets. This one right here has a little bullet hole right in the front.
I was gonna say that looks World War One.
Yes, and this one has a shrapnel hole in the top.
Oh wow! You wanna get a close up of that?
Oh yeah.
So
really
lots of interesting things. And of course, the closet is a very small closet. They didn't have a lot of clothes, but there is a reason why in very old houses that you have very small closets or no closets at all in a room. And that's because you had to pay a yearly tax on how many rooms your house had. So if you had a closet like we have today that's 2 feet wide and 7 feet long, because it was long enough for somebody to lay down in, they considered it a room, not a closet.
Really?
So instead of having 4 bedrooms up here, you would have 8, which would double the amount of tax you paid. So as long as the closet was only as thick as the wall or under a staircase, you didn't have to pay any tax on it because it wasn't considered a room you could sleep in unless, of course, your name was Harry Potter. People think I'm old, but I know.
You know Harry Potter.
So anyway, that's why you had a wardrobe or an armoire or a chiffon robe in your bedroom, because it was a piece of furniture that you would hang your clothes in, and it wasn't counted as a taxable item.
Huh. That I bet people thought they were pretty slick with that, didn't they?
Hey, why not? You always had to figure out a way not to pay some taxes.
Yeah.
The government gets an awful lot. It's about time that people do something.
They can dial it down in the closet.
Yes. So on the floor right over here, we have a World War I machine gun. It is called a waltzing Matilda or a potato masher, because when you were shooting it, it would dance around the ground and make everything underneath it look like mashed potatoes. They were tight and I couldn't breathe. So I'm like, there's something wrong with me here. I don't know what it is, but you have to tell me. So I turned to go out of the living room and I saw this spirit go fly right out the front door. And as soon as it did, they let me breathe again. Came down, they were okay with me, and they were just kind of walking with me, not circling me and, protecting me from that spirit that went by. And then a little bit later, a tour guide that is here came by with a couple of spiritualist people and was taking them in the house, and they came in, and about 5 minutes later the one lady comes out and said, there's something evil in there. I can't be in there because I can't breathe. And I had told them my story. So then I told them what happened to me in the morning. So they think something that was evil was traveling through, and I figure the ghosts that are here were protecting me from whatever that happened to be for us. Right? This is the light bulb that lights our lighthouse.
Wow, that?
That. Because the lens does all the work.
Yeah.
If you think about oil lamps, they aren't bright. There's no way.
True,
You put an oil lamp on a table, it doesn't light up anything except the table. So they need to make a way the oil lamps can be seen before the ships actually crash. Okay? So this is all we need. Doesn't matter what size it is.
The size of a car headlight.
It is. And it's a halogen. It's 250 watts. But it has to be in what they call the focal point of the lens in order to work correctly. Because if it's not in the focal point, then the light refracts the wrong way and it doesn't shine where it's supposed to. So it's a lot of math and science on making them work.
I'm waiting for this.
The lighthouse keeper doesn't want to go up and down 55 steps carrying oil and wicks and everything.
Yeah.
So they put a dumbwaiter in this corner of the tower. So that bucket would have been inside with a rope that went to the top. And anything he needed up at the top, he'd stick in the bucket. If he needed more stuff, once he was up there, he'd set the bucket down and have somebody fill it down here. So somebody like William Sinfield on his crutches could actually stand down here and put stuff in the bucket, so he didn't have to keep climbing. He didn't have to go up and down the stairs, but he was doing his job.
That's cool.
Okay? So here we go. Once you go by the window, hold on to the handle. And when we get to the next level, it's actually a big trap door, and because you're a little taller than I am, you're going to have to be careful because I just go under the trap door.
Right underneath
you
it.
might hit it,
Okay.
okay? So you're going to have to be a little careful just to make sure you don't, and you don't bump your head and stuff, because the floor jets out over the handrail. So
Okay.
if you're too close to the wall like this,
You'll hit your head.
you hit your head
Okay.
and your shoulder, okay? So kind of stay out a little bit
Okay.
from the edge. So this is where you have to watch out.
Okay.
And this, of course, is where the dumbwaiter came out.
That's cool.
Okay? Our tower is round on the inside, but it's square on the outside. And so they use the corner as a dumbwaiter. And the reason it's round on the inside and square on the outside, because the original tower, when they moved it over here in 1875, was round.
Mm-hmm.
So they put the round tower up. They built that Victorian house. Didn't like the way the round tower looked with the Victorian house, so they put a square tower around the outside of the round tower to make it more aesthetically pleasing.
Okay, that's why they did that.
Yeah.
Because I know some lighthouses are just circular and straight up.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Okay, so when we get up there, we're actually standing on the roof of the square part of the tower.
Okay.
All right, these are the last 10 steps. They are steep like a ladder. We do have to duck under the support for the floor. Okay, we're going to go through a very small trap door right there.
Thank you.
And the top of the door to go outside was made for an average height person, and 1875,
Ah.
not 2024. Which means that the top of the door hits me in the head
Oh, wow.
right about here.
Okay.
Which means you are going to have to duck. You might be able to walk straight out, but
I'll
you
still
are
duck.
going to have to duck, okay?
Okay.
It's 3 foot thick.
Okay.
If you put your head up too soon, this is what happens to the top of your head.
Okay.
Okay? You have a nice head of hair. You might want to keep it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay, you can put your one hand right there so that you don't. And it's very windy outside. You're not going to be able to see much because it is. Oh, well, you can see the sunset.
Oh, wow. Yeah, look at this, guys. So we're outside right now. Okay. Oh, I'm getting a perfect view of that. That's amazing. Guys, we are now beginning our investigation. You know how I like to start off the investigation. Well, first I'll tell you where I am. So right now we're in the kitchen of the Dunkirk Lighthouse. This is kind of where we've made our command center and our home base. So I'm going to start this off like I usually do, where I like to run EMF. Just walk all over the house, see if there's any. Now, he did say in the living room that there's some electronics in the floor that could set off our EMF devices. But this is the part where we introduce ourselves. I do some EMF sweeps, and then we got some new equipment for you guys. So we're going to do our walk around. So let's do this. Hello, everybody of the Dunkirk Lighthouse. My name is Chris. I am here tonight to talk to you, and anything you want to share with me or communicate in any way, feel free to talk to us. If you want to play with us, we're here to play too. I heard that there's children's spirits here. Feel free to come up to us and pull on our shirts or jackets or anything that you feel you want to do. I'm from Arizona. You guys know where Arizona is, so I came a long way to visit you. If you just saw, we talked to David, and David said that you guys will show us a good time tonight, so we're here for you. So when I was walking through here, I felt a lot of energy in the war room, and so I think I'll probably go up there right now. I'll turn this light on so we can see going up the stairs. Walking right now upstairs to the war rooms where they have the war museum up here. It was really heavy when we came up here. This is where I felt the most energy, and I feel it right now. I feel really heavy right now. It feels... Watch out for the chair right here. And don't scare yourself with this man. Hello? My name is Chris. Is there anybody up here that wants to talk to us? Thank you for your service. If you are from the war, thank you for fighting for our country and our freedom. If there's anything that you want to share with me or talk to me, tell me some of your war stories. I'd love to hear them. I've had family that has fought on wars, World War II. So I'm checking my EMF meter. I haven't had anything unusual go off on it yet, but I have a camera on my chest, so if anything does go off, we'll catch it quickly to show it. Is there anybody in here? Watch out for the gun on the floor. you out there in the hall? Tell me you heard that. That sound like footsteps. You want us to come talk to you? I'm sure you guys get other ghost hunters in here besides myself. Do you want to tell me your name so I know who I'm talking to? If you didn't hear me the first time, my name is Chris. Is there anybody in here? Is that that plastic again? Again, thank you for your service and everything that you did for us in our country. Are you comfortable with us in here? One of the biggest questions we have is what happens when you die? We don't know. That's why we do this. We're trying to figure it out. You want to tell us? Oh, I forgot there's a basement. We haven't gone to the basement. Hello? Is there anybody down here? My name is Chris. Are there any spirits in here? Oh my god, look what that just went up to a 6.5. Did you see that spike? And now it's gone. You see that? I have it in the same place. It just spiked. Were you standing in front of me? I wonder if it just came up or the spirit just came down.
I still feel the thickness.
I wonder if the spirit... Did you just come up the stairs or did you go down the stairs? Oh, 0.2, 0.4. 0.3. Is there anybody down here? My name is Chris. I'm here to talk to you. We are opening ourselves up for communication. Do you have anything you want to share with us? Were you one of the lighthouse keepers here? Or one of the lighthouse keepers' children? How long did you live here? We have other types of equipment for you to communicate with us.
I think I just heard something in there.
What?
Something. I just heard something behind me.
Like what?
As I was walking out. A noise.
Oh. Are you in here? Is that you wanting to communicate with us? Can you give us a sign of your presence? Everybody, so I am introducing a new piece of equipment. This is something I've been wanting to experiment with for a while. So pretty much what this setup is this is like a old school EVP recorder, but it's live. So in the video, you're going to hear everything that I have on this setup. So this is enhanced like a parabolic mic, so it's turned up really loud, but it's live going into the recorder that I have in my pocket. So I'm going to hear everything live through the headphones, with the sound card that we have in here. And then if anything happens, you'll hear it on the video. So we're going to try this right now. We're going to walk around, stick this in some rooms, ask some questions, and see what happens. So in here is just the sound card. So we're going to walk around with this and see what happens. Is there any little children in here that want to communicate with me? Can you guys tell me your name? There's a microphone right here in my left hand. Can you tell me your name? Can you come up to this and tell me? Is there anybody in here? Are you guys... Is this late for you? Are you going to bed? Ooh, there's a cold spot, right?
It's cold in here.
Yeah, there's a cold spot in here. Is there somebody in here?
Are you the lighthouse keeper?
Is there anybody in this room? Was this your bedroom? Charlie? Charlie, are you in here? There's a cold draft coming from this room, it feels like.
Mm.
Is there anybody back here? Does anybody want to talk to us? Is it late for you guys? Did you just hear that? I just heard a little girl through this. Little girl? Was that you? Are you coming over to play? I've always wanted to know, what is it like in the spirit world? What does the spirit world look like to you?
Oh,
What?
you stepped on that and it was loud.
The hell was that? Looked like there was someone standing back there. Was there someone just standing up here? Whoa. Whoa.
What?
Hold on. I thought I just saw somebody. Is there somebody in here? With us? Just checking cords to making sure nothing's unplugged. If there's somebody here, there's a microphone in my hand. Can you talk into this microphone? I'd love to hear your voice. Did you fight in the war? Or Are you a soldier? If you're a soldier, again, I want, whoa, again, I want, whoa, again, I want, whoa, whoa. I want to thank you for your service. Again, thank you for fighting for our country. Is there anybody in here? Who resides in the basement? Charlie, are you down here? Charlie, are you in here? My name is Chris. Is there anybody that wants to talk to me? Is there anybody back here? They say that usually, if there are any darker spirits here, they say usually darker spirits tend to reside more towards the basement. I don't know if that's true or not. That's just hearsay, but we're testing right now. So far this is working very well. We're going to continue using this to see if we hear any. Who are some of the lighthouse keepers that were here? I have a microphone in my hand. Can you come up and talk to this? Is it hard for you to speak right now? Is there anybody in here that wants to talk? If you're having a hard time communicating, that's the clock upstairs. I heard that. So David said that the clock goes off every hour. You guys all in bed? You know, that's something that I wonder very much. So, do you guys have a sleep time? So when we're ghost hunting and trying to see if you're here, are you guys all in bed? We're going to turn the spirit box on.
Power on.
Now in SB7 mode.
Alright, let's give it a shot. Alright, we're using another device so we can hear you. Is there anybody in here that wants to communicate with us? Are any of the lighthouse keepers with us here tonight? Are you in here? Can you use the white noise to communicate with me? Like to roll the ball. You don't have to be. You don't have to be. You don't have to be.
I heard it.
Holy crap, that was loud. Guys, that was a really loud voice. Who just talked to me? Is there somebody in here? Do you want us to go to another room? Alright, we're gonna go upstairs. Is there any veterans or soldiers up here? What did I just say?
Yeah.
I think I said yeah.
Yeah.
You sound like a female. Are you one of the female soldiers? We heard about a female Civil War soldier who was up here. What did you say? What is your name? Can you tell us how old you are? What branch of the military did you serve in?
Thank you for your service.
Were you a Marine? Navy? That was a response. I just didn't hear it. I just couldn't make out what it said.
That's me.
Can you tell us more about the history in this room? Are you an American soldier? Here, I'm going to set this down. Were you an American soldier? Well, that answered me. That sounds like different people talking.
So you put it in front of the Nazi flag.
Did you serve in the German military? Are you attached to any items in here? Are you guys attached to any items in here? Is there an item that was yours that you used in the war? We changed rooms. We want to talk to you. Do any of these items belong to you? Wow, that was a clear voice. That was really clear. That was a good voice. Can you say something again? Did you serve? Are you the one that served in the military? Are you a lighthouse keeper? We know there's many different spirits in here. Are you a lighthouse keeper or did you serve in the military? any spirits in here? Who's in here? Is there anybody up in the lighthouse? Sarah, are you helping Charlie? I said, hold on. Well, we're gonna go in the basement. Alright, I'm coming down. Who's down here with us? Is there anybody that stays in the basement? We were told that David was told to get out when he was down here. Can you tell us who that was? Do any soldiers or lighthouse keepers come in the basement? How many spirits are in here? How many spirits are in here? Alright, we're going up the stairs. Holy shit. So guys, we were messing with the camera and the REM pod upstairs just went off. Now, like I said, there is nobody up there. How would that REM pod just go off? All right. I'm in here by myself. There's nobody in here with me. There's that ball on the floor. That's a camera shutting off on my chest. Can you roll that ball on the floor? Can you turn the radio on? So right now I pretty much got the whole building to myself. Is there anybody up in here? Is there anybody up the stairs? You guys know who David is? Just kind of, like I said, doing a little bit of investigation alone. If somebody's upstairs, can you make a loud noise so I can hear you? Are you a lighthouse keeper or one of the soldiers? Are you going to sleep? So David was telling us earlier that sometimes that radio likes to go off. I was trying to entice the spirits by offering them $1, but I don't know if they'll accept my... Does anybody like to play the piano? Can you play the piano? I can play a little bit of piano. Would you like me to play? A lot of cool pictures on the wall. Trying just to see if I hear anything at the moment. Because I'd like to hear some sort of noise, maybe get some sort of voice on here. I don't really... This room is really small, he was saying earlier. I know there's children's spirits in here, so... Trying to see if any of the children's spirits want to roll the ball or play. Is there anybody upstairs? How about it? Want to turn the radio on?